Part 5, Offers, Lesson 12, What is an Offer? Now it's time to discuss another basic concept of copywriting, the offer. Creating clear and compelling offers is fundamental to copywriting. But first, let's define an offer. It's a specific promise to deliver something. Marketing copy with an offer contrasts with what I call "hello, I exist" marketing. When I lived in Boston and belonged to several networking groups, I received a lot of "hello, I exist" marketing. Other members of those groups would send emails or letters introducing themselves or saying they were happy to meet me at a recent meeting and then describing what they did in their business. But there was no offer, so there was no reason to do anything in response to those messages. "Hello, I exist" marketing is like meeting someone, shaking hands, and then drifting apart to go do something else. In contrast, an offer makes people sit up and listen. It brings people out of the woodwork and inspires them to act because you're saying, if you do such and such, which might or might not involve money, then I'll do such and such for you. An offer gives people a reason to do business with you now, either by signing up for something, requesting a report, a demo, or a tour, and so on. Now, many offers involve what's called one-step marketing, where the deal flat out invites people to buy something. In other instances, particularly where what's being sold is more complicated or expensive, you first ask people to take a small step, perhaps signing up for something free, after which you market specifically to those who took the small step, inviting them to buy. For instance, in real estate, two-step marketing might consist of inviting people to attend an open house. People tour the house and get their questions answered, and at that point, rather than initially, they might be in a position to make an offer to buy. That's two-step marketing. The host agent might ask everyone attending the open house to sign their name, address, and email address to get additional information afterwards about this and/or other houses in the neighborhood. Theoretically, that would be three-step marketing, but we stop counting at two. The host agent would most likely put the names on that sign-up list into his or her marketing funnel, sending them postcards and/or emails about listings, sales, and real estate trends. Over time, some people in the marketing funnel will buy a house, not the one whose open house they originally attended, but another one. Here's an example of how I've used two-step marketing and a marketing funnel at my website. I invite people to sign up to receive a free audio on marketing for introverts, and I tell them that they'll receive additional information on the topic. Their privacy is protected, and they can unsubscribe at any time. When people sign up, they receive a link to the promised audio by return email, and then they receive a pre-written series of 14 other messages every other day for a month, inviting them to sign up for my online course on marketing for introverts or for a one-on-one consultation with me. And from time to time, I send out some new thoughts to everyone who has ever signed up on that list, and that may or may not have a new offer at the end. This is a very common method of marketing that clients may hire you to implement or that you may want to suggest to them or do yourself. Copywriters talk about irresistible offers, but before we get to that, let's consider the criteria for a minimally acceptable offer. It should first be clear, that is, the reader can easily understand it. If it's too complicated or if it's confusing, it would not be clear and wouldn't count as a good offer. Second, it should be believable. That is, the reader should be given enough information to trust that the offer would be carried out as promised. If people think the offer is too good to be true, has some hidden dangers, or is unlikely to be delivered on for some other reason, they'll hold back. The Travel Channel for a while had a show called Trip Flip, where the scruffy-looking host would approach strangers on the street and offer them a free vacation on the condition that they wouldn't know where they were going until they got there. It was fascinating to watch some people refuse even to engage with the host on the street, and others say no because they thought the idea was nuts. Some couples said yes, and then we got to watch them having adventures in an exotic location. But clearly, the free vacation was not an irresistible offer to many folks. And third, is the offer risk-free or low risk? Clearly, the trip flip idea had a lot of hidden risks for many people, starting with the basic risk of talking to a stranger who approaches you on the street out of the blue. You could get embarrassed by the filming, scammed, or worse, stranded in a place you'd rather not be. Remember, just because an offer is free doesn't mean it's risk-free. I've been making offers for several decades now as part of my weekly newsletter, The Marketing Minute, as well as for my copywriting clients. On the screen, you can see one of my most successful offers over the years, writing a bio or about page for $150. The price went up since then to $300. It's clear, believable to those who had seen me prove my expertise week after week in the newsletter, and low risk because I would first let you know whether or not I thought your bio needed a makeover. Many of my most successful services started out like this in my newsletter. The ones that had lots of takers, I would repeat, raising the price after I saw the proven demand. To see a lot more examples of successful offers, along with more advice we don't have time for in the course, download the PDF All About Offers linked in this lesson. Here's an example of an offer I'd like you to think about. If you haven't heard of it, Reiki is a healing practice that originated in Japan and has been adopted by New Agers and by dozens of mainstream hospitals, such as the Cleveland Clinic. Most people experience Reiki treatment in person when a trained person delivers energy through their hands, not quite touching the patient's body. But some practitioners also claim to be able to send healing energy at a distance. Avalon DeWitt published an offer on her website for a free sample group healing Reiki session, along with a brief explanation that you can read on the screen. To critique it, we need to begin with the goal of the offer. Generally, service providers put out the offer of a free session to enable people to have a positive experience of working with them, so they'll sign up for paid sessions. Take a moment to think this over. Would you accept this offer, and why or why not? When we discussed this offer in a copywriting class, not one participant said they would take advantage of this offer. Problem number one. How does this work, both logistically and theoretically? That is, do you call in for the session, or do they just do some mumbo-jumbo remotely on your behalf? When will this happen? And how can what someone does with their hands or mind affect you physically and mentally thousands of miles away? Problem number two. Avalon asks for personal information but does not say what she'll do with the information. Is she going to share that information with other people on the call? People in my class felt uncomfortable with that thought. Problem number three, what's the benefit? How can you expect to feel afterwards, and what's the explanation for that? Problem number four, someone brought up the question of whether or not Avalon could get into legal trouble for calling this a free healing session. There are indeed federal, state, and local laws in many places covering such matters. And problem number five, as with the trip flip offer, if people just plain don't believe that this sort of thing is possible, they may not be willing to put themselves into a situation where they have the opportunity to experience it for themselves. Many people would rather not be scammed. Not that I'm saying Avalon's offer is a scam. I don't know. For all these reasons, I don't think this offer would attract anyone who's at all skeptical or concerned about their privacy. Certainly, for all that it's free, it's not an irresistible offer. I would recommend Avalon come up with a revised offer that's more geared to those who know little or nothing yet about Reiki, perhaps just a free Q&A information call. In the next lesson, we'll dissect several of the common elements of offers.